Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole and it's by user Impressive Series 117. How can someone who isn't invited to a wedding be considered responsible for giving a gift? I would appreciate any advice or suggestions on how to approach this situation. I'll change the names of those involved. I have a group of friends, though not all of them are truly close to me. Most of them are more friends by association, but we all go out together and have a good time. I do consider Maddie and Jessie to be real friends. For Maddie's birthday, I got her a cake. Jessie had a small civil wedding and Maddie offered to bring wine for the celebration at her place while I offered to bring a cake. There's a girl in the group named Carly and my relationship with her is neither friendly nor unfriendly. She's always shown some apathy towards me, and I know she doesn't really like me. I don't dislike her, but I get the sense we wouldn't be friends since we have different perspectives. During the celebration, Carly commented that she liked the cake, and Jessie mentioned that I had brought it. Carly said it was good, but that it tasted a bit dry. Everyone exchanged looks and changed the subject, but Carly kept talking about the cake. I didn't say anything about it. Now, Carly had been planning her wedding before Jessie got married. She used to invite Maddie, Jessie, and other girls to discuss prices and ask for opinions on things, but she never asked me for my help or advice. I had assumed I wasn't going to be invited. Everyone else got an invitation, and I wasn't surprised when I didn't receive one. Jessie wanted to talk to Carly about it, but I asked her not to, as I didn't want a petty invitation and understood that Carly wouldn't invite me because we're not friends. Jessie told me she wouldn't attend if it would make me feel bad, but I told her not to worry about it. Then Carly messaged me on WhatsApp to ask for cake designs and filling options. I thought she already had that figured out since her wedding was coming up and she'd been planning it for a while. I sent her the catalog and she commented on a few options she liked. She asked if I did the setup, to which I replied yes and sent her some example photos. She only reacted to the photos with a thumbs up and we didn't talk any further. She didn't ask for a quote or schedule a consultation, so I assumed she wasn't interested in my service. This was over a month ago. Today, we went out to eat and everyone was talking about the wedding. Her fiancé asked who I'd be bringing. I'm single, so I told him I wouldn't be attending. He asked why, and to keep the mood light and avoid drama, I mentioned I'd be traveling to visit my parents. He understood, but Carly asked me when I was leaving. I told her I'd be leaving on Wednesday, and she said, "The wedding's on Saturday. How are you going to set up the cake and desserts?" I asked which cake she was referring to, and she replied, "The one you're bringing to my wedding." I told her we didn't have anything scheduled and she insisted she had our messages. I clarified that I had only given her options and setup photos, and since she didn't follow up, I assumed she wasn't interested. Her fiancé asked if anything could be done about it. I explained that the bakery requires a contract and a deposit. Maddie asked if Carly had paid a deposit or requested a contract. Carly replied by asking why she would need to, since it was my wedding gift to her and that I should make sure she had her cake for Saturday. I explained that I don't handle the bakery's schedule and that with the wedding so close, they wouldn't accept a new order. Carly seemed upset and looked very uncomfortable. I asked for my bill, paid and said goodbye, saying I needed to go. I really don't want to lose my friendship with the group since I'm not from this city and I felt comfortable with them. I don't want this to create tension, but I also don't know how to handle conflicts. I know it's a bit sad that I can't stand up for myself and would rather avoid confrontation. Maddie told me that after I left, Carly said it wasn't fair for me to back out after agreeing, and some people in the group hinted that maybe I didn't want to go to the wedding because I didn't want to give her the cake. Jessie said I wasn't invited, and Carly replied that she had invited me. Well, in my opinion, no, you're not the a-hole. Carly is just apparently an entitled bridezilla that expects you to give her a gift because you've done the same for people that you actually like, and clearly she doesn't like you or want you at her wedding, and now she's trying to save face. Personally, I don't think you're gonna lose your friends, Maddie and Jesse. They clearly like you, they stand up for you, so I don't think anything's gonna happen on that front. But if you want to reassure your friendship, maybe you want to explain to just the two of them, who are the people that you apparently care most about, what's going on. Tell them or share the conversation you had with Carly over WhatsApp. And regarding Carly and her demands, OP, I wouldn't sweat it. Honestly, it doesn't really matter. It's her wedding. She should have planned better instead of just assuming that you were gonna gift her the cake, and that's it. She needs to solve her own issues now. And what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section, and now let's check out the community comments. Zoya Tulip says, it's not okay for her to expect a gift, especially a big cake, from someone she didn't even invite to her wedding. You were right to tell her you hadn't agreed to make the cake. It makes sense that you wouldn't want to give something so big to someone who doesn't seem to like you very much. And OP responds, and especially for me to give her that gift when we don't even have a relationship. Chewy Runtbutt says, not the a-hole. Carly is awful. I don't know how much I would want to be friends with people who would be supportive of the way she's treating you. It's a good thing that Jesse has your back, but Carly seems to be set on causing major issues for you within the group. And OP responds, I don't even know why she doesn't like me. Mother Search 3350 says, stop entertaining her BS. She didn't ask for a cake, didn't invite you to her wedding, hasn't even ordered a cake. She is on some bad bitch trip. Stop feeding that monster. You are not her friend. She is a friend of a friend. You owe her absolutely nothing. Go and visit your family and leave her to deal with the drama. If she doesn't have a wedding cake, that's her own problem. And not August, but Ordinary says, the problem with this scenario is that you have allowed people to make assumptions, and that lets Carly act as a victim. You need to make it clear to the group that you are not invited to the wedding, and that you were never asked to make a cake, or she will get people to side against you. Had you been asked to make a cake, there would have been a charge and a contract. Point out that this might have all been different were Carly and you real friends, but you are not. You are just two people who share mutual friends. Carly obviously understood this, which is why she didn't invite you to her wedding. So why would she presume on your non-existent friendship to expect that you would be gifting something as important as the wedding cake? You might also be best to post screenshots of your messages. I also wonder what she has been saying to her fiancé, given that he thought you were coming. So overall, the community agrees that OP wouldn't be the a-hole and that Carly sucks. So now, let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. To those who asked why I didn't stand up for myself and let things get so out of hand, as I mentioned before, I don't like confronting people. I get nervous. I feel like I can't breathe. When I had presentations in school, I used to throw up before and after each one. Sometimes I've even kept items I didn't order or didn't want just because I was too embarrassed to exchange them. I've been to therapy, and thanks to that, I'm now able to work as a cashier in a bakery. I don't think I could have done that before. I've come a long way, but I still get nervous speaking in public. I have a younger sister, and she used to go everywhere with me. I'd give her the money and she would pay because just talking to the cashier would leave me breathless. I know people often feel sorry for those who seem weak, and I don't want to be seen that way or treated condescendingly. Anyway, someone sent me a DM asking our ages. I'm 21, Maddie is 30, Carly is 30, Anna is 31, Carla's fiancé is 31, and Jesse is 30. I hope that helps clarify a bit more. Now, here's what happened next. Someone suggested what I could say to Carly. Quote, Carly, you never asked me to bake a cake for your wedding. You certainly didn't ask me to do a wedding cake for free as a wedding gift. So no. Besides, you thought my cake for Jesse was dry. Why would you even want one from me unless it was to weasel a freebie that you would just badmouth me later for? I am seriously not that gullible, and I sent it to her. She replied saying she thought I wouldn't mind and that I owed her a gift anyway, and she'd chosen the cake as her gift. I replied that only guests are responsible for giving gifts. She asked what I meant, and I clarified that she hadn't invited me to the wedding. She left me on red. Then I messaged her fiance something like, I don't want to cause drama or any misunderstandings, but I didn't commit to giving her the wedding cake. I sent him screenshots of our conversation and he called me right away. He apologized and said he thought it was odd when Carly told him I had offered to give her the cake. I mentioned it seemed even stranger to me since I wasn't even invited. He asked if I was serious and I told him yes, but that I wasn't upset and understood if it was something private. He apologized again and we ended the call. Around noon, Carly messaged me saying I was making a fuss over nothing, as if I couldn't just give her the damn cake. She didn't understand why I was being so sensitive, saying I'd given Maddie a cake and Jessie one as well, and asked me to explain why I couldn't do the same for her. I replied that Maddie's cake was a birthday cake, and although Jessie's was for her wedding, it wasn't a wedding cake. Carly answered that it didn't matter what the cake was for. I told her if that was the case, she could buy one from the supermarket. She started typing, but I blocked her before the message came through. Then, Carly sent a message to the group with only the part where I told her to buy it at the supermarket, saying it was insulted and showed how little I valued her wedding, so no one could say she was the bad one. I panicked and unblocked her again. I knew she wouldn't stay quiet, and that's when she posted in the group. Then she messaged me privately again. I haven't replied to her privately anymore. I responded to the group with a suggestion someone gave me in a comment, which I adapted a bit. Hey everyone, I want to clear up some confusion and rumors. I won't be attending the wedding because I didn't receive an invitation. I understood and made other plans for that time since the rest of you were invited. I'm not hurt or upset. It is what it is. The confusion about the cake is as baffling to me as it is to you. I only provided information on models and fillings from the place where I work, and that's all. I don't understand why it's expected that I cover a cake for a wedding I'm not invited to. It's true, I suggested the supermarket as she said the purpose of the cake didn't matter. I hope this clears everything up. I wish you all a wonderful time celebrating Carly and her fiancé. Congratulations in advance to the happy couple, and I hope those not involved don't feel caught in the middle. I then posted the screenshots where she reacted with a thumbs up when I sent the samples, along with all the conversation from that day and today. After a while, someone commented that the group wasn't meant for this kind of drama and that we should resolve it privately. Maddie jumped in and said Carly demanded the cake in public, so it's only fair that everything is explained in public. Another girl, let's call her Anna, commented that's not the way to ask for a gift. Carly saw everything and sent a voice note saying she didn't know a simple cake would ruin my finances, but that it was fine and that I shouldn't have shared everything in the chat. Then, she sent a second message saying that when I get married and don't have friends who can help me out with things from their jobs, I will understand what it's like to be without support. A guy replied tagging her, "You didn't invite her." Carly responded saying she hadn't sent the invitation. Another guy asked, "Do you have the confirmation?" And Carly said, "No, but she should have told me when she saw she didn't get the invite." Jessie replied that she didn't like Carly's attitude, that she even considered not going and would only attend for the fiancé's sake. Carly then said, "So no one says I didn't invite you. Everyone can see here I'm inviting you. I'll send an electronic invite since there's no point in printing one now." I replied not to bother as I already had plans. Carly replied, "There, you all see." Then someone who hadn't spoken left the group. Carly didn't ask me about the cake again. All she did was send me several chicken emojis. Something like that. Also, I was thinking about all the types of fillings she mentioned. Some of them can't even be used together in the same cake. Also, cakes are priced by the pound or by the number of guests, but I don't know how many guests she will have. How was I supposed to assemble a cake without knowing what type of supports I would use? If she had made a contract, I wouldn't be the only person she had talked to. I don't understand how she could take so many things for granted. The wedding is on Saturday, and I found out about it on Sunday. If I hadn't gone out with them, how was I supposed to find out about it? If I had agreed on Sunday, I wouldn't have been able to have it ready for that day anyway. Well, OP, it doesn't really matter anymore because you're gonna go visit your family and Carly's going to have to deal with her wedding cake some other way. It is not your problem. So hopefully you enjoy your family weekend, OP. Take care and thanks for sharing. And now let's finish this video with a mood booster post. This post is from the subreddit Malicious Compliant and it's by user fmintar1. So, you think you know more than me?
Hi there. Is there a project you're working on?
I know more than you.
All right.
I, 34 male, had always been doing multimedia for my church for years and years, so displaying lyrics and creating PowerPoint slides are second nature to me. I was scheduled to take care of the multimedia this morning, so as usual, I came and created what's needed. I set up all the lyrics, Bible verses, and the slides that was sent from the speaker before I went to the restroom. When I'm back, I saw the guy who usually plays the bass, Nate, but he wasn't on schedule today. He was having a conversation with another person behind the multimedia station. I went back to my station and started pre-displaying everything on the screen to make sure that I can read everything. So that's what I did before I noticed that Nate is looking at my station. 5 minutes before we start, Nate suddenly asked what I prepared. I showed him everything. The lyrics, the Bible verses, the slides, just to satisfy his curiosity. Side note, I don't really like Nate for several reasons. He believes in a lot of conspiracies people shared on social media, and when someone questioned him, he argued non-stop. Most of us just try to avoid starting a conversation with him entirely, including me. Also, whenever he's scheduled to play bass, he tuned his amp's volume quite high, higher than the other musical instruments that I can feel the vibration every time he plugs his bass, and the multimedia station is at the very back of the room. He's just super obnoxious. Apparently, his obnoxiousness is at a high rate today because as soon as he saw the slides I prepared, he said that the font size is too small. He didn't say it might be small. No, he said it's too small. I told him that it's fine. It's the regular font size we use week after week, but he wouldn't drop it. By this time, the service started, but for some reason, he didn't go to find an empty seat in the audience. Rather, he sat on a stool behind my station while repeatedly telling me that the font is too small. By this point, I was listening to his font mantra behind me while displaying the lyrics for the singers. After a couple minutes, I asked him if he's planning to sit with the audience, and I kid you not, this is his response. OP, your font is too small. You need to increase it. I can't believe it. He's so fixated on my slides' font size that he refused to leave me alone until I fulfill his wishes. By this point, even the pastor's wife asked him to please have a seat in the audience, in which he told her that it's better for him to sit there because if he sat in the audience, he wouldn't be able to see anything. I had enough. Malicious compliance initiated. While still controlling the displayed lyrics, I also edited the slides while he watched, so I'm multitasking. Mind you, the service has already begun, so I can't actually display the slides just to make sure. I increased the font so big that the slides looked ridiculous. Before, there were only 10 slides and one slide could contain 6 to 7 lines of 2 to 3 Bible verses with a translation section below it. Now, there are about 40 slides with 15 plus lines that contain only 6 words in each. I can barely fit the translation part and each slide could contain only one verse. It looked totally atrocious. After witnessing his destruction, he patted me on the back, gave me a thumbs up, and went to find an empty seat. I looked at the pastor's wife and even she shook her head. During the sermon, it was extremely awkward. The speaker was having a difficult time reading from the screen because he kept on pausing after each line. I also have to switch the slides quicker than before because each only consisted of one verse, which interrupted the speaker's pace. After 10 minutes, the speaker gave up and just read from his own Bible, which most audiences follow suit. I witnessed many audiences pulled up their Bible app from their phone and just read from there. Even Nate. I texted Nate, "Why are you reading from your phone? I thought you wanted the font bigger so you can read from the screen." and in response, he turned and glared at me silently. After the service was finished, the speaker approached me and asked if everything is okay, because the slides didn't look like what I usually made. The pastor's wife approached us, was very apologetic, and explained everything. Then we looked for Nate, in which we couldn't find him in the crowd. I guess he was too embarrassed to admit his monstrosity. Well, I guess Nate really wanted an immersive experience into the text, so he just got what he wanted. I don't know why he was glaring at you, OP. Thanks for sharing. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out, so here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later, and also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.